Hi, welcome to SFG Cards and Craft. Today I'd like to show you how I used the Winter Unicorn stamp and die set from Fawn to make this card. Using the inks, the distress inks for the rainbow, worn lipstick, dried marigold, squeezed lemonade, cracked pistachio, tumbled glass, a mix of salty ocean and wilted violet, and shaded lilac. The mix of salty ocean and wilted violet, I'm using those two as a double mix to do the sixth colour, which is the indigo colour. Using water on the rainbow arcs first to try and get a very pastel-y type shade on the rainbow. I didn't want to have it too dark because it is a fairly subtle thing in the background on my card here, and besides that, real rainbows aren't really dark, they're sort of fairly subtle in the sky. Wetting down the second one here, just bear with us for a little while. I am showing the whole rainbow being painted, but it is fairly quick. I've sped it up quite considerably, so and just cleaning off the work area in the meantime between colours, just so I don't get cross contamination. I'm sorry about the slightly off screen here and there. I've had this stamp set for a while, but I haven't actually really done much with it. I've had other new stamps. When I buy stamp sets, I usually buy 4 or 5 at the time, and I'm sort of working on one and put the others aside. Well, this is really the first chance that I've had to really do much with this one. I've practiced with it before, but haven't done much. But what I've done with this card here, I thought came out alright. The rainbow, I've actually only just managed to get that. I actually have been trying to get it for quite some time, and then managed to find it on eBay, and then I had to wait almost a month for it to come in from eBay because the lady that was selling it was away and wasn't able to send it at the time. But never mind, I've got it now, so here we are. This is now the blue colour. The next one is the indigo, which is the mix of the two colours together. The mix of the two colours, the salty ocean and the wilted violet, I'm roughly using the salty ocean 2 parts salty ocean to 1 part wilted violet. I tried it roughly 1 to 1 as near as I could with just dipping the brush into the ink on the side there, and it came out too dark and too purpley looking, so I've toned it down a little bit and managed to get the colour that I've got there, as you can see. Just doing the last one now, which is the it's shaded lilac for the 7th colour. I used some of the same colours on the tail and mane of the unicorn. This is the worn lipstick going on here now. I use also later on, I forgot to do it at this point, but later on I actually used worn lipstick inside the ear as well, the little dot inside the ear. This is squeezed lemonade. My squeezed lemonade is all but dry actually, and I really do have to get some new re-inkers, and that's one of them that's right on the top of my list. Okay, there's the I think I do 2 coats there, and looks like on that rainbow of the yellow one there I've done 2 coats of the squeezed lemonade on there as well, whereas only 1 coat of each of the others, because it is a fairly light colour to begin with, but because my one's almost dry, it's had to have 2 coats. This cracked pistachio is the 3rd colour that I'm using. I basically used alternate colours from the rainbow. I've used the 1st, the 3rd and the 5th, and then I use on the scarf, I used the 7th colour, which is the shaded lilac. I keep forgetting the name, I've got to keep referring to my notes, apologies for that. Now this is just coming in with a little bit of the hickory smoke for the shading on the unicorn, just under the, well, where there would be shading, basically just around the areas that are sort of protruding over the top, to give it a little bit of dimension, I guess you could say, or appears to be dimension, and also to knock back the brightness of the white of the body of the unicorn. I think it looks a little bit better with the shading on it than just have it flat. The gold winker Stella, just for the horn and the hooves, I just do a coat of the gold winker Stella. On the you noticed up the front, there was 2 cards there. One was this card, and one was the one that I actually did first. The other card has silver. I used the silver winker Stella on the horn and hooves, and just a touch on the ear of the worn lipstick. Now I'm coming in with the Copic Multiliner. I think this is the thinnest one, which is the number 05, just to put some eyelashes on. And I've also off screen put a dot of Glaze pen into the eye. And there's the unicorn complete. Fairly quick, fairly small item. I did the grass, sorry about that. I had turned my camera off and gone off and done something, and came back and forgot to turn it on while I did the grass. And anyway, we've all seen grass done before. It was just grass that was cut out of one of the lawn fawn grassy border dyes. That's the pack with the 4 grassy borders in it. And here I'm just putting some what is it, broken china around the tumbled glass, sorry, apologies for that, tumbled glass around the edges of the window frame. I could have done this, it would have been probably easier to do it with the plastic already mounted in there, but I chose not to. Stazon ink, I'm using, this is for the raindrops that are on the inside of the window. The raindrops are actually using, there's a stamp set called Designs by Ryn, and it's called Water Effects 1. This is just one of the small sets of small pieces of stamps that's actually inside that set. This is one I've actually used more than anything, because the drops on this little stamp here is actually smaller, I think, than any of the others. The others are quite large, and this is quite small, so this is compared to any of the others, although I would have liked it smaller than this, but never mind, this is all I've got. So, but I think it looks quite good in the end. And just gently pushing that on, don't push it on too hard because it can slip and smear, but you can wash it off. Using tumbled glass again to do the background, the sky, possibly because it is a rainy day I could have probably done that with a slightly darker sort of greyer colour, maybe the stormy skies colour, but really, I mean, there's a rainbow there, so the sun is out, so perhaps there is a blue sky after all. Now, putting on the rainbow, sorry about rushing through this, but I found that my videos are quite long, and I don't know if it actually stops people from actually wanting to watch them, because some of them are quite long, but I'm just putting on the rainbows here. I had a little bit of problems with some of the other rainbows. I did record the whole thing, but I've decided to cut the first part of it. The glue I'm using is Ranger glue. It's fairly new for me. It is called, sorry, I'm just looking on my list here. It says the glue, Ranger Multi-Medium Matte. It's a fairly new one for me. This is only the second card I've used it on. In fact, the first card was the other rainbow card that I've done. It seems okay. Apparently this matte glue, when it dries by the name matte, but also it doesn't have that stickiness that most glues, if it oozes out, a lot of glues retain the stickiness for a very long time afterwards, and apparently this one doesn't. I haven't actually proven that yet, because both of the cards that I've done are behind plastic, so I haven't actually tried that out yet, but I'm assuming that what they say is correct, which is a very good thing, because it is very annoying when you get glue oozing out and it goes sticky, and then you got all this sticky mess everywhere. And now I'm just placing on the clouds. These clouds, they are actually from Avery, Elle, called Pierced Clouds die set. I've used just one type of, there's actually in that die set there's 2 clouds. This is the larger one of the 2, and then there's a third one which pierces only but doesn't cut out, plus there's 2 long clouds that you can actually cut long strips of clouds out. And then I'm just gluing on the unicorn, and that's what it's going to look like. Now at the last moment decision here, I actually decided to make it into a shaker, and I wish I hadn't. You'll see in a moment. I didn't make the I was only going to put on a couple of layers of the, which I've done there, a couple of layers of the dimensional tape, and then I decided at the last second to make it into a shaker, but as I said, it wasn't deep enough, and the shaker didn't shake terribly well. If I'd only put the stars in, it might have been alright, but I put beads in there as well, and the beads were quite large, but they didn't want to shake terribly well, but it moves a little bit. But that's what it looks like. Now I'm bringing out, this is just some sentiments that I've actually printed up on my computer, and the bottom one is the one that I'm actually using. It says, "Rainbow unicorns are the rarest of them all, but I got you one for your birthday. Make a wish." Just didn't have anything else that would actually fit along the bottom of the window there, and I thought, oh, I'll just type something up myself. So I've made up these few sentiments, and that was the one I decided to use. Just cutting it roughly to size here, and I actually come in with some brushed corduroy, there it is there, some brushed corduroy to just age it, basically, to make it look older. and then I've just put a couple of dots, one on each, four actually, one on each corner of the glaze pen, so that it appears to be like nails holding it on. So just there we go, there's the glaze pen going on now. And then I just used my ATG gun just to stick that down. And there's the completed card. The one on the left is the one that I've just made now. The other one was my first one that I made. And you can see on the first one that I've actually got raindrops over the top of the unicorn. That's what I wanted to avoid with the second one. Okay, well, if you like this, please subscribe. And if you did like it, if you could mind ticking the like box. Thank you. Bye-bye.